Marcus needs it more than you, Emma. My mother's voice was firm as she slid the inheritance papers across the kitchen table. I stared at them, my hands trembling. The beach house, the investment accounts, even Grandma's antique jewelry. Everything my grandparents had left specifically to me was now being reassigned to my younger brother, Marcus. I'm Emma Sullivan. I'm 34, single, and a marine biologist. And today, I was watching my parents hand over my entire inheritance to Marcus, his wife Olivia, and their 3 kids. The same Marcus who spent his adult life bouncing from one financial disaster to the next, always depending on our parents to clean up the mess. You're focused on your research, my father added, not meeting my eyes. Your brother has real responsibilities. I looked around the kitchen, our family's heart. The place where Grandma taught me to bake, sharing stories while we made apple pie. And now, here I was, being erased from the legacy I'd cherished. Have you even read Grandma and Grandpa's will? I asked quietly. They left this all to me. My mother waved her hand dismissively. They didn't expect Marcus to have a big family. Things change. We need to adapt. I remembered my last conversation with Grandpa, 6 months ago in his study. His voice had been weak, but his gaze sharp. There's something you need to know about your inheritance, he had said. Not everything is in the official will. But before he could say more, Marcus barged in, demanding money. That was the last private moment I had with Grandpa. Sign the papers, my father said now. Don't make this harder. The beach house is perfect for Marcus' kids. My sanctuary. The place where I'd done most of my fieldwork. Tracking coastal changes, studying local marine life, launching conservation efforts. A home I had maintained and improved. Marcus hadn't stepped foot in it since our grandparents died. And my research? Yes. Olivia stepped forward, smirking. You can find another beach for your little fish projects. The kids need a summer home. Something inside me snapped. Years of being the responsible one, the quiet one, the one who always gave way. Suddenly it all clicked. I remembered Grandpa's unfinished message. Picked up the pen. Okay, I said. My mother let out a sigh of relief. I knew you'd understand, sweetheart. I signed the papers, calm and steady. My father snatched them up like he expected me to change my mind. We'll help you move your research gear next weekend, he added. Marcus and Olivia want to start renovations. No need, I said, rising. I'll be out by tomorrow night. As I left, I heard Olivia already planning to turn my research room into a playroom. Marcus was talking about selling Grandma's jewelry to fund the renovations. But they didn't know what I knew. I drove straight to my grandfather's old law office. Mr. Patterson, his attorney for 40 years, greeted me with a nod. I was wondering when you'd come, he said, handing me a thick envelope. Your grandfather left this for you. Strict instructions. Only open it when you were ready. Inside was a handwritten letter. My dearest Emma, if you're reading this, what I feared has happened. Your parents have always favored Marcus. But I've seen who you've become. Brilliant, brave, and deeply committed to preserving the oceans we both loved. The will only shows a part of your inheritance. The real treasure, the one that truly matters, is still waiting for you. Mr. Patterson has all the details. Sometimes losing everything is how we find what really matters. Love always. Grandpa. Mr. Patterson led me to his private office and pulled out a thick folder marked Sullivan Legacy. Private holdings. Your grandfather owned a chain of small islands off the coast, he explained. 30 years ago they were considered worthless. But today, they're among the most ecologically important marine habitats in the region. As he spread the documents and photos across the desk, I felt my breath catch. This wasn't just a second chance. It was the beginning of something far greater. 3 pristine islands, each with its own unique ecosystem, and each hiding a secret my grandfather had protected until now. Mr. Patterson slid a folder toward me. Your grandfather built fully equipped research facilities on all 3 islands, he said. He followed your work closely, every paper, every conservation project. He designed these centers based on your research needs. I flipped through the specifications, my hands trembling. State-of-the-art marine labs, sustainable housing, private dock, everything I had ever dreamed of, more advanced than anything at the beach house. But why didn't he tell anyone? I asked, overwhelmed. Mr. Patterson gave a knowing smile and handed me another envelope. Because he knew how your parents treat family assets. These islands are protected under a trust that only you can control. They can't be sold. They can't be touched by anyone else. Inside the envelope were bank statements, figures so large I blinked twice. He created a private research fund, Mr. Patterson explained. Enough to support your work for at least a decade. Also locked under your name. I sat there in stunned silence, realizing the magnitude of what my grandfather had done, not just for my career but for my independence. I thought of my parents at home, likely congratulating themselves for finally pushing me out. I thought of Marcus and Olivia, turning my lab into a playroom. When can I take possession? Yes. Immediately. The staff has been maintaining the facilities. Your grandfather insisted everything be ready the moment you arrived. Over the next week, I moved out of the beach house quietly and efficiently. I hired a discreet team, made them sign NDAs, and worked at night. My parents didn't bother checking in. They assumed, as always, that I'd quietly accept their decision. They had no idea what was coming. When I first set foot on the main island, I nearly cried. The lab was perfect. Top-tier equipment. Flawless layout. Access to marine environments I had only studied in theory. The head of the maintenance team, James, greeted me with a warm smile. Your grandfather talked about you all the time, he said. He was proud. This was his dream for you. I spent the next 2 weeks settling in, unpacking gear, organizing research, and exploring the islands. I found handwritten notes from Grandpa tucked into drawers and notebooks. Quiet encouragements that reminded me of who I was and who believed in me. Then the call came. My mother's voice was clipped with barely concealed anger. The renovation crew arrived and all your equipment is gone, she said. Where is everything? I moved it. Just like you asked, I replied calmly. To where? She demanded. Your department says you've left the university. What are you doing, Emma? I heard Marcus in the background, panicking, probably worried I'd taken the jewelry he planned to pawn. I'm continuing my work, I said. There's no need for concern. This is childish, she snapped. Just tell us where you moved everything. No, I said, my voice steady. You wanted me out. Out. The rest is no longer your business. I ended the call and turned back to the ocean view beyond my lab's floor-to-ceiling windows. The sky was streaked in orange and violet. On my desk sat a photo of Grandpa and me, taken during one of our beach walks years ago. You were right, Grandpa, I whispered. Losing everything really was the beginning. My phone buzzed endlessly in the following days. Marcus demanded to know where the jewelry was. It was safe right where it belonged. Olivia accused me of ruining their renovation timeline. My father tried guilt, asking what they'd done to deserve this. I ignored them all. Instead, I drafted the most ambitious research proposal of my life. With the resources Grandpa had left me, I could finally chase the kind of impact-driven work I'd only dreamed of. Free from compromise, free from politics, free from guilt. 3 months later, my research hit international headlines. Groundbreaking marine study discovers 5 new species. New coral restoration method could save reefs worldwide. My inbox overflowed, with praise, collaboration offers, and messages from stunned colleagues. But one call stood out, my mother. Private research islands, she said, her voice high and sharp. How is this possible? Where did you get the funding for all this? Smiled. Finally, I was no longer the silent daughter in the background of Marcus' chaos. I was Emma Sullivan, scientist, legacy holder, and founder of a new era in marine conservation. And this was only the beginning. Grandpa left me more than just a beach house, I said calmly. The silence on the other end of the line was deafening. I could almost hear my mother putting the pieces together. Every insignificant trip Grandpa took, every investment she brushed off as a hobby. "Why didn't you tell us?" she finally asked, her voice brittle. I didn't hesitate. "Like you told me you were giving away my inheritance." Pause. This was Grandpa's wish. He wanted me to have a place where my work wouldn't be dismissed as little fish projects, where no one could take it away. That afternoon, Marcus and Olivia showed up at my university office. Marcus was holding a printed article about my research. "This isn't fair," he snapped. "You've been hiding all of this while we've been struggling to renovate the beach house." I looked up from my desk, taking in Olivia's designer bag and the glittering new jewelry, no doubt funded by what was left of Grandma's antique collection. "Struggling?" I raised an eyebrow. "From what I've seen on your social media, it's been a pretty luxurious summer." "That's different," Olivia interjected. "We have children. They deserve the best. And I have endangered species to protect," I replied evenly. "They deserve a future." I glanced at my watch. "If you'll excuse me, I have a video call with the National Marine Conservation Board." Their faces as they left, anger, jealousy, and the dawning realization they had underestimated me, was more satisfying than I expected. The final confrontation came a week later. My parents demanded to see the islands. I agreed on my terms. At dawn, a research boat picked them up. As we approached the main island, I watched their expressions shift from skeptical to stunned. This is incredible," my father whispered, taking in the cutting-edge labs and expansive conservation zones. I led them through the facility, explaining our research projects and showing them my office. Framed on the wall was a photo of Grandpa and me, surrounded by awards and publications. "Your grandfather planned all of this?" my mother asked quietly. "He did," I nodded. "He believed in my work, even when no one else in the family did. He made sure I had everything I needed to succeed." "We've always believed in you," my father said, though his voice lacked conviction. "No," I said firmly. "You've always expected me to step aside for Marcus, to be the understanding one, to give up what was mine for the sake of family. But Grandpa saw me. He knew what I was capable of." As if on cue, my assistant rushed in. "Dr. Sullivan, the coral reef implementation is exceeding expectations. We're ready for your review." I turned to her, gave clear instructions, and coordinated next steps with my team. My parents watched in silence, no longer seeing the daughter who always gave in, but a woman fully in command of her world. "We were wrong," my mother said softly, just before they left. "About everything." "Yes," I replied, steady and sure. "But that's okay. I'm exactly where I need to be." As their boat faded into the horizon, I stood on the dock, feeling something I hadn't in years: peace. Grandpa hadn't just left me land and resources. He gave me the chance to prove myself, to live on my terms. 6 months later, my facility hosted an international marine biology conference. Scientists from around the globe came to study our conservation breakthroughs. Meanwhile, Marcus and Olivia's beach house renovations had gone wildly over budget. They ended up selling the house they fought so hard to take. And me. I stood on the observation deck of my research center, watching the sunset bleed across the ocean. In my hands, Grandpa's final letter. Sometimes losing everything is the first step to finding something greater. He was right. In losing what I thought was my inheritance, I gained something far more valuable: purpose, confidence, and the power to shape my own future. My phone buzzed. Another message from my mother. "Can we visit the islands again?" This time I smiled. But on my terms. These islands weren't just an inheritance. They were my legacy, earned through his faith, and my own unshakable determination.